We are on MCA TV at Gens 2019. We are with Professor Petra Huppi. Welcome. She's in the Department of Women, Infants and Adolescents, Division of Development and Growth, University Children's Hospital, University of Geneva. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
Which are the main neurological issues in preterm infants?
We know for many years that preterm infants, despite their now really very successful survival rates, face during their development issues that can impair their school success. It goes, of course, from early developmental problems in the motor development, but to more relevant problems in cognitive behavior and also social integration problems. They face a higher risk of some neuropsychiatric disorders later in life, such as autism and ADHD. And so there is a very important quest to the research community to find ways to correct those deficits.
Yes, and in your research you showed that music listened very early in the NICU it has the ability to stimulate the development of the brain. Can you explain us how it can be so helpful?
So indeed, when you take a neonatal intensive care unit, it's not that different from an adult intensive care unit. The environment is very disruptive. You never get to sleep when you want to sleep. There's a lot of noise, and you are separated from your family, from your mother, from your father. So in general, such an environment is disruptive. Now, over the years, the family-centered care has made a huge improvement in the environment of NICUs, but mothers in our units are still not there 24 hours, so there are still periods where the child is on his own. And there are data from adult studies that show that music can accompany our life. Music in the brain activates networks that are important for the development of emotion recognition, but also internal relevance of stimuli understanding. And so we designed a study where we use a music that is specifically composed for the preterm infant, so very simple music, not the very complex composer music, that should accompany the physiological state of the baby. So a baby that wants to wake up, or a baby that wants to go to sleep, or a baby that's just awake and would like to interact, but there's nobody there to interact, gets 3 different little pieces of 8 minutes of music. And this is actually then given by the nurse who sees that the baby is starting to wake up or wants to fall asleep. So just a little bit like you would do with your child at home. My baby wants to go to sleep, so I sing him a lullaby.
Yes.
And by doing that, we were able to show that very important networks in the brain, those are networks that are at the base of our brain functioning, relevant to decide what do I hear, what do I see, is it relevant for me? So these basic networks that are important for our cognitive functioning have been improved by this music intervention. And so I think it's a new way. We have to do some more research on that, because we don't know the dose and how much time and what's the difference between an instrumental music and the music that is vocal, that involves human voices.
Yes, can you update us about the last findings about human voice, in particular maternal vocal contact?
So babies, of course, have a contact of voices already intrauterine. They hear the voices around. It's attenuated by the liquid by which they are surrounded. But there are indications that maternal voice can be identified by babies very early on. Now our preterm babies are exposed to many more voices, not just the maternal voice. And research actually indicates that this multitude of voices induces a kind of learning and recognition of different voices. We've recently performed studies where we looked at the difference between the maternal voice and the voice of another mother. And there are distinct differences in the brain processing already occurring in the newborn period between the voices, and it seems that the preterm baby already processes the voices in a much more complex way than the full-term baby. But the full-term baby has a really clear understanding already of the maternal voice, and a little bit less for the stranger voice.
That's amazing. Let's hope we can help babies with music. That it's an inexpensive cure, maybe. So it will be fantastic.
Indeed, it would be a nice way to enrich the environment of our NICUs. If we can cure them just with music, might not be the case.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.